Hello everyone, my name is Stephanie and today I am in New York visiting Taylor. That's your cue. There's Taylor.
Hi.
And we are going to go on a little book tour. We're going to stop at five bookstores.
Maybe more.
Depending.
Maybe less.
We'll see. And we're just going to check out a bunch of different bookstores. Hello. I love how there's a window behind me, so it's very like, whoa. So, anyways, somebody had an 8 gig card in, but we are about to go on our little trip. We are going to do some sort of rating system. What should we rate? We said atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
The quantity of the selection, but I also think the quality of the books. What else is important? I'm sure we could look this up. There's probably some other people have done it and have thought this through much more than we have.
Yeah, probably.
At least those 3 things.
Yeah.
Maybe anything that makes it stand out. Like anything particularly that gives it bonus points.
Yeah. Oh, I think we should also do how photogenic it is. How many good pictures I can take of myself there for my bookstagram, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah. So what is our first stop going to be?
Our first stop is going to be the East Village Bookstore.
Ooh.
On St. Mark's Place and First Avenue? Between, 1st and Avenue A.
Sounds good to me. So, let's go.
I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go.
This one opens at 1 o'clock and it's like noon. So we're gonna try someplace else first.
Through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
This is a great book. We read it with my 3rd grade class last year, and they got really into it.
And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go. waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me. So alive, make it last forever. Stop in time, yeah, I'm surrendering. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you. Dripping lights paint the skies, only you can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me move. Can make me move. You can make me move. Can make me.
I'm sleepy.
Hi. Okay.
Okay.
So, Steph.
So, it's been a while since our book tour. We watched some Netflix and I took a little nap because I'm sleepy.
Because she sleeps.
But we're back. So we're going to chat a little bit about the bookstores that we went to, some of the books that we bought, our opinions, etc. So, the first bookstore we went to, we didn't actually get to go in because somebody didn't check what time it opened before planning this book tour.
It was 12:15 when we got there, which, like, most places are open at 12:15, but this bookstore didn't open till 1 p.m. How was I supposed to predict that? So we went to a second bookstore.
Well, first we went and we bought some socks.
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
we went to a second bookstore.
I'm gonna pull out the socks. Okay, so we got this pair of socks that says Oy vey. I got it from my uncle because my uncle, whenever he's frustrated, he goes Oy vey. And then, more relevant for this video, we got these.
Book socks.
It says, so many books, so little time.
So
And those are for Steph.
I'm excited about these socks. So these are cute. There's also a little kitty on them,
That's cute.
sleeping on the bookshelf. So that sock place was cool. So then we went to Alabaster. What is it called?
Alabaster
Books.
Bookshop.
Bookshop. So we
Maybe
went there.
Alabaster Books, I don't know.
So we went in and we looked around and stuff, and then afterwards we kind of thought about how we would rate it. We had a couple different things that we looked at. So one was the number of books that were available, and then the selection of books. So this one we called quality. So the types of books that were available, and then we also looked at the overall atmosphere. So those were our sort of 3 categories, and we scored each category 1 through 5. So whereas there was a pretty cool selection of books,
Definitely.
I thought the atmosphere was not the best, just because like it seemed very like haphazardly put together. Like there were piles of books on the floor and stuff like that. And whereas like that is how my books are organized at my apartment right now, solely because I don't have enough space on my bookshelf, it's not an ideal situation. So that one made me, it was like, I don't know, it was kind of overwhelming for me to have just like books.
It's basically like if you imagine like a hall closet, it's about as big as a hall closet, just stuffed with like 1,000 books.
Yeah.
But really cool books, like The Odyssey. They had an original film script from The Godfather, and they had a book about naked nurses. That was cool, but that's not what we bought. So I'm in law school right now, and I thought, as every good lawyer should have, I got a copy of To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, probably the greatest lawyer story of all time.
And why did you choose that particular cover?
Oh, this is the cover. I'll show you again. So this is the same copy of To Kill a Mockingbird that I read in school, like 20 years ago when I was in middle school. So yeah, it made me happy. All right,
So I guess our ratings for that would be...
we can both actually give our rating because it might be different for the other ones.
Okay. So for, let's see, for size of the selection of books, number of books, I give it like a 4.
5 being the best,
Yeah.
1 being the worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then quality or like diversity of the selection, I give it like a 3.5, because whereas like it did have a lot of like very different things, it didn't have like, you know, like the most popular, you know, 2019 releases and
For
stuff
sure.
like that.
Yeah, it was much more skewed toward older books.
Yeah. And then overall atmosphere, I'd give it about a 2.
Yeah. I think that my ratings are pretty similar. Yeah, probably 4 for the number of books, because there was like a ton of books in there. I'd probably say, what did you say, 3 for the quality? 3.5? Yeah, I would say that too. I mean, I liked that they had a lot of different types. Like they had several different versions of the Odyssey, for instance. They had several different versions of like Shakespeare books. So like it was cool to sort of be able to, I don't know, have like compare different versions. They even had like 2 different versions of To Kill a Mockingbird. Just like the way that they were bound is different, and I found that I liked that choice, but you're right, it was definitely skewed toward older books.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would give the atmosphere a 2.5. Similar, it was pretty cramped. It did kind of feel cool to me to like feel like you were like in somebody's closet. Like I kind of liked that idea. I feel like I could just kind of get lost in there for hours, but definitely, especially in the winter time when you're wearing these big coats and other people are in the store with their big coats, you're kind of like extra squished. So maybe if you were like by yourself in that room, it would be fine, but you know, being a store, it was a little much.
Yeah. But, I mean, I definitely think it was a cool experience to go and see all the different books that they had. Like, they had some really old Nancy Drew books, that weird naked nurses book. But yeah, fun time. Okay, what was the next bookstore that we stopped at?
After Alabaster, we went to the Strand.
I think I've been in there maybe once before, but it was so cool to like walk around. Like you could spend months in there, you know. So that was really cool. I liked that, like, on the first floor they had kind of like a sampling. So, like, there was, like, the little children's section, and they said, you know, for more children's books, visit level 2 and whatever. So I liked that when you first walked in, you got kind of, like, a view of what the whole store was going to be like, and then you could go into the different sections for, you know, more detail. They had so many books. So many books. So for my number of books available, like 5 out of 5. It was amazing.
They have 18 miles of books if you lined them all up.
It's so many books.
So many books.
Oh, and they have such good books too.
Mm-hmm.
I found a bunch of books that I had arcs of that I don't have finished copies of that I was very tempted to buy, but I resisted. So I was proud of myself. I'd have to say the selection of books, the quality as we're calling it, was also a 5 out of 5 because you had so many different things you could find there. And I also liked how there were certain books, especially like on that main floor, there were books in different sections. So like Daisy Jones and the Six was in like the new releases section, but then it was also in, you know, some of the other ones. So like you could find one book in more than one place, which I thought was very helpful and cool. Atmosphere, amazing. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5. Because I think like with all the people, like it was a little bit overwhelming, but I mean we are in New York, so there's that. But I understand the hype, and I will go back again and spend an entire month there looking at all the books.
Yeah, I love the Strand. I mean, it's like a go-to spot in New York City. Number of books, 5 out of 5. So for me, the quality of the books, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, only because I want them to get more screenplays and scripts. I am really into reading screenplays and scripts, and they have, you know, a couple, but I think that that's an area that, you know, I would like to see grow. Also, I'm just trying to be picky. Atmosphere, I'd say 5 out of 5. I really like the way that the Strand is organized. I think it's really easy to find whatever you're looking for. I've gotten Steph a lot of children's books there for her classroom. I've gotten a lot of books for myself to read. You know, I think it's a really cool place, and everyone who works there is really nice. And yeah, so that's what I'd say.
So definitely a good place to visit. Highly recommend. But I wouldn't say try and do it when you also have like 5 other stores to go to in the same day in like, you know, a couple hour span. That's one that you might want to spend a little bit more time at.
Yeah. Third, we took a quick pit stop at Forbidden Planet.
Yes, we did. And I taught Taylor who Neil Gaiman is because I tried to explain to her how popular he is, and she had no idea. We've been watching Lucifer lately, and that is based off a character from The Sandman, so we were able to find that comic in the store, and I pointed that out to her too. I'm not big on comics or graphic novels, so that definitely wasn't my favorite place, but I thought it was cool. For a number of books, was a lot. I'm going to give it a 4.
Really?
Yeah. I thought there were a lot of books.
Okay.
For being a comic store, there were a lot. Selection, I'm going to bring it down just because it was solely comics and graphic novels. So I'm going to give it 2.5. Atmosphere, I thought it was cool. It reminded me a bit of Hot Topic.
Yeah.
So there's that. I love Hot Topic, don't get me wrong. That was just kind of the vibe I got. Like a 3 for Atmosphere.
Nice. Yeah, I think Forbidden Planet is a really cool place. So I read the Bone comic book or Bone graphic novel. I don't know exactly what you classify it. I think it's more of a graphic novel. I read that series a lot as when I was little. That's like one of the only things that I would read. And they have that at Forbidden Planet, so that was really cool to, be able to see that. And yeah, I mean, I think that the atmosphere is really fun. I think it's a cool way to get, like, kids like me who wouldn't normally be interested in books when you're little, like, to explore storytelling in that way. I would say number of books, I would give it a 3. I mean, I think probably if you counted up the number of books at all the stores we went to today, it probably had the least. But, fair. It's not primarily a book. Well,
but they're a lot smaller books.
True. Sheer number-wise. I don't know. Maybe it had as many as Alabaster, but they have other things, too. They have a lot of, like, knickknacks and stuff.
Yeah. Like the little pop figures and stuff.
Yeah. I would say for quality of books, I would give it... I'd give it a 3.5. Because again, I really like the Bone series, and they have a lot of good comics for people that are really interested in that. Atmosphere, I would give it a 4 out of 5. I really like that atmosphere. It like makes me excited. It like feels like a cool space. It's like a little darker than like your traditional bookstore. Lots of bright colors coming from the product. So, I don't know. To me, it stands out. It's definitely like Hot Topic. But I like that aesthetic. So 4 out of 5.
So the next store we went to was Barnes & Noble.
The classic.
Which, is a little bit different than some of the smaller bookstores that we visited. But has like 5,000 floors. And is huge. So we went in. But I, of course, made us go into the clearance section. And I got a bind up of the first 5 novels of The Wizard of Oz, which is my favorite story ever. But I don't actually own any of the Wizard of Oz books. So I'm excited to have this now. It was $8, but I got my 20% off teacher discount, so it was like $6 something for 5 books, essentially. So I'm happy.
Yeah, how many pages is this?
Oh, wow.
728 pages.
That's a lot of pages. I'm excited. I'm excited to finally have a copy. I do own copies of Wicked and that series, but like the original, I didn't have, so I'm excited to have this now. Yeah. You got some books there too.
I did as well, yes. So I also got my books from the clearance section. I got one book for myself, which is a copy of the new U.S. Constitution.
She's very cool, as you can tell.
It's the U.S. Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights, but, it's part of the Constitution. I just figured I would mention it because, it's not just the original Anyways, so I'm in law school, as I mentioned before, and I figure that having a copy of the Constitution is always important as a lawyer, but also, it's a nice, cool table read to like have out. What is it called?
Coffee table book?
A coffee table book. Some people have design books, so I'll have the Constitution. So if you ever want to learn about the Quartering Act, I can just come talk to you about the Third Amendment. Next, so my brother is in medical school, and so I got him Grey's Anatomy,
which is my sister's favorite show.
Not the TV show. This is the Grey's Anatomy with a Gray. It says a landmark medical text on the back. So, and my dad is also a huge fan of Robert Frost. So I got Selected Poems by Robert Frost. I just was, scrolling through casually. and I got 2 The Road Not Taken, probably his most famous. Anyway, all right. So, how would you describe Barnes & Noble stuff?
Number of books, 5 out of 5. Amazing selection. We didn't get to go into like all of the different areas, but there were a lot of books. Diversity, quality of the selection, 5 out of 5. So many books. You know, we had our classics. We had, law stuff. YA, there were like test prep books, like they had everything. Of course, it's Barnes & Noble, they have everything. Atmosphere-wise, we were kind of talking about this earlier, and it has a very different feel than some of the other stores that we went to. This one is more of like a corporate-y, like big box store kind of feel to it. Whereas the other ones, you know, felt smaller, more local. So I'm gonna give it 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah. I would probably agree with that rating exactly. One other thing I'll say about the atmosphere, Barnes & Noble, this is the Barnes & Noble in Union Square. It's great because they do have a lot of events there. They'll have speakers come and talk about their books sometimes. Like I was able, oh, my mom's calling.
Mom.
Commercial break. Hi, Mom. I am back. All right, where were we?
We were just finishing up talking about Barnes & Noble
Yeah.
and going to talk about our last stop.
Yes.
Do you want to tell them what it was?
Books of Wonder.
So this was probably my favorite stop. Because of the selection. Whereas it was a more specified selection, so the diversity of the selection wasn't super high. It had my favorite specific type of books, and that was children's books.
Yeah, Books of Wonder
So-
is dedicated to children's books of old and new. So they had everything from like Peter Rabbit to like the 2019 books like Hair Love.
So number of books, it was a lot. I did end up buying 3 books there.
She almost bought 5.
I did. But then I didn't. And these were all on sale. They were $6 each, which...
It's great for New York City.
So I guess I'll tell you about those and then we'll give our ratings.
Yeah.
So the first one I got is a collaboration of a bunch of different author illustrators called What's Your Favorite Animal? It was put together by Eric Carle. And so it has a bunch of different authors that all drew and spoke about different animals. So when I get children's books, I either get them because I love them, like I love the story and stuff like that, or I get them as something for the classroom I'm currently in. So knowing the classroom that I'm in, the students that I have, the levels that we are, I thought this would be a really good one to bring in because we can talk about all the different animals and then the kids can share about their favorite animal and stuff. And I was just coming up with a bunch of different ideas. Actually, while you were on the phone, I was looking through this and like lesson planning in my head. So I'm excited to have this one. I think it's going to be really cool. I also like how on the front it's a combination of a bunch of different animals. So I was thinking of ways we can incorporate that and do a little activity with that. So
I love it.
and then this is one of the books on the other side where I got it because it's something that I like. I like the message of it. And, you know, I may not be in the same kind of classroom forever, so this would be a good one to have. And that is Just Add Glitter. And I'm super excited for this one because this child's solution to everything is, you know, when you're feeling down or you're bored, her solution is to just add glitter. And so this child adds glitter to pretty much everything, and it's really cute, and I love it. And my favorite is that towards the end, she learns that the glitter made it hard to see. What sparkles most is you and me. And so it's just really cute. So I like this one. This one also is a textured book, so you can feel the glitter on all the pages too, which I really like, and which my kids really like too because they're 3. So yeah. And then the last book I got there is Busy Day, and I got this one because it is one of those hide flap books. It has a bunch of different things, and each page has multiple different things to flip. So they're really cool. And my kids are very into those kinds of flap books. So I thought this one would be really cool. So I think that was my
favorite.
Yeah, that was my favorite. That was the best. I came out with the most books there.
Big surprise that the preschool teacher's favorite stop was the children's bookstore.
Do you want to give your ratings first, since I've been doing it for all of them?
Sure. One little fun fact I'll add about Books of Wonder, although edit this out if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's right, is that Books of Wonder was one of the inspirations for the movie You've Got Mail, and Meg Ryan actually worked at Books of Wonder in preparation for the film. So at least one of those 2 fun facts is true. Maybe both. But, yeah, so I like it for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Little film history, film trivia. I would say for number of books, there are definitely a lot. I guess it's kind of rivaling, though, the amount in Forbidden Planet.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot, but it was kind of limited to a certain type of book.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I'm going to maybe revise my answer of Forbidden Planet from earlier and bump that one up to 4 because it only seems fair because I want to give this one a 4 for the number of books. For the selection of books, so although it was very much had a particular audience, they had so many different types of children's books. I mean, they had Shel Silverstein, they had Dr. Seuss, but then they also had more modern authors like Lupita Nyong'o's most recent book. And they had a kids book about Thurgood Marshall, and kids books about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Sonia Sotomayor. So the little lawyer in me was like, yes, my kids are gonna read these books one day. So I would probably give it a 5 for the quality of the selection because I think it had a really good diversity for that genre of book or age range of book. I apologize. I'm not very into the whole book blogging scene, so I don't know all the lingo that you kids use. And then Atmosphere is definitely a 5 out of 5 for sure. It's a really cool space. It's just very friendly. There were kids running around, which I honestly thought was great because it just shows first of all, no one could be running around in the Alabaster bookshop. But it's a kids bookshop, so you want kids to be able to have fun and play. And they had these big clouds that kept thundering, and there was lots of spaces for you to kind of sit down and read. So I thought it was fun. I would give it a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it.
I'll agree with those. I'll say the one thing that I'll change is I'll give the diversity of the selection a 4.5 out of 5 because it was limited to children's and some YA.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. Within that, though, they did have a very different selection of books. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we were able to do that. And maybe next time we'll get into that one bookstore that was closed and visit some other ones too.
You can only hope. So if you want a part 2, comment below, or you know, if YouTube starts changing up the layout, comment over there, comment up here, comment over here. They've changed it before. You know, you can see old YouTube videos where they're like, you know, check out that stuff over there. But now it's like down here, you know, this is subscribe button and all that. Comment anywhere you want. If you want her and me to do a part 2. Or if you only want her, you can say, Steph, please make a part 2. Kick Taylor out of it. Whatever you want to do. I'll only be a little offended. I enjoy doing this, so I would love to do a part 2.
And I kind of need you to show me where all these places are, because I don't know how to get around New York.
Okay, so you don't really have a choice.
But that was a lot of fun. Thanks for taking me.
Thanks for coming.
Of course, and thank you for watching. If you would like, I'll leave some links down below where you can find a list of all of the books that we talked about in this video. You can also find links like my Instagram and stuff. Taylor, do you want me to leave your links in there too?
Yeah, why not?
Sure. So Taylor's stuff will be down in the description as well. You can also feel free to click the subscribe button if you would like. That way you can keep up to date with all the videos that I post. There's also a like button and such down there if you feel so inclined. But I guess that is it for now. So until the next video, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye. That was good.
And cut.